Early 2000s luxury SUVs weren't just about comfort, they were status symbols on wheels. Today, we're diving into a heavyweight face-off, the bold and brash 2002 Cadillac Escalade, the re-engineered 2003 Lincoln Navigator, and the precision-built 2002 Mercedes-Benz ML500, which one ruled the road? Which one had the best blend of power, luxury, and presence? Buckle up, this is no ordinary SUV comparison. This is Archive Drive. Let's go asterisk. If 10 years ago, we'd have told you that at least 3 premium luxury car makers would be trafficking in trucks and sport utility vehicles, you'd have laughed us right off the newsstand. Well, Cadillac, Lincoln, and Mercedes-Benz build and sell SUVs, and they're dead serious about it. In fact, the 2 domestic marques offer both a truck and a sport utility, and each is working on a second-tier sport utility as we speak. Along with this market segment's exponential growth has come a similarly timed increase in the demand for luxury-branded goods. In other words, people want nice stuff with lots of features, along with perceptions of quality, capability, and status. Put these 2 trends in a blender, and the result is premium SUVs, besides toughness and real 4-wheel drive capability. Luxtruck buyers are demanding powertrain refinement and ride comfort, plus the same types of entertainment options, safety features, and burled walnut trim that luxury cars offer. These 3 Luxo utilities are good examples of the breed. Cadillac's Escalade, based on the same rugged full-frame platform as the Chevrolet Tahoe and GMC's Yukon, comes with a powerful 6.0 L345 HP engine, a slick full-time all-wheel drive system, and a computer-controlled suspension. Checking in with an import perspective on Gunny-wear luxury is the more tightly proportioned ML500 from Mercedes, with half a ton less mass to manage than its domestic competitors, and a sophisticated, willing 5.0 L288 PV8. The 4874 LBML proved the agile hot rod of this trio. All new, inside and out, 403, the Lincoln Navigator platinum-plated sibling of the Ford Expeditioner arrives with a totally re-engineered chassis featuring independent rear suspension, standard 4-corner air ride, and an industry-first power-folding third-row bench that tucks into the floor. The Caddy was all new last year, and the ML received a substantial update for 2002. These SUVs are among the cream of the crop in terms of power, passenger capacity, cargo room, ride comfort, and feature content. But grand dimensions can be a double-edged sword. Premium sport utilities are generally awkward to maneuver and park on narrow city streets. Park distance sensors in the Caddy and the Lincoln help some, and the Mercedes is a bit less affected due to its smaller package size. Low-ceiling garages or car washes can take expensive bites out of roof racks or even sheet metal if clearance margins are forgotten. Another segment, downside, is high fuel consumption. Big fuel tanks provide decent range, but with city mileage between 12 and 14 mpg and EPA highway numbers of 15 to 17. You'll reach for your wallet often, and all 3 like the taste of more expensive premium unleaded. We put this upmarket trio through its paces, on and off-road. Then we pressed every button and tested every goodie. Here's what we discovered. It goes without saying that customers expect a $50,000 luxury sport utility to come equipped with a premium engine and transmission combination. 2 of these powertrains measure up well, the other not quite as much. Our overall favorite combo is the Cadillac's. The 6.0 liters V8's 380 pounds-ft of torque, and virtually undetectable shifts from the 4-speed 4L60 EHD automatic make even the 5,809 lb Escalade feel lively. This powertrain is also low-rev quiet and exceptionally smooth. The ML's 24-valve 5.0 LV8 and 5-speed automatic perform more like those in a luxury sport coupe. A deep dip into the throttle elicits a pleasing growl and perfectly sorted up or downshifts. It, too, is outstandingly smooth. With so much less mass to move, the Mercedes was quickest of the trio with a 6.85 sec 0 to 60 run. That looks good against the Cadillac's 7.45 sec and the Lincoln's just decent 10.0 sec performance. A tiny nit in the ML powertrain is a hint of high-pitched whine when coasting. Beyond the Lincoln's just-average acceleration, we didn't favor its 5.4 LDOHC V8 sound quality or lack thereof. Around town, or under light load on the highway, it's reasonably quiet. When it's time to propel the more than 6,000 Del-B Navigator into traffic, several drivers commented it sounds like it's straining. In the powertrain's plus column, the Transmission's quiet and smoothness seem much improved over those of the previous Navigator and a recently sampled Blackwood. Pickup, dazzling progress has just been made in terms of heavy truck brake performance, with electronic brake force distribution, standard anti-lock, and large four-wheel discs. All these trucks stop in a hurry, despite their high weights. The Cadillac and the Mercedes tied for second with an excellent fade-free 132 FT. Halt from 60 miles per hour, and the big Lincoln, heaviest of the group, surprised us with a Mustang GT-like 129 FT stop on a dampish test track. All three manufacturers appear to have done their homework and passed this test with flying colors. Handling is a relative term when the players have better than 8 in of ground clearance, are 200 in long, and can weigh more than 3 tons. All three corner reasonably, given their overall size and passenger cargo capacity. The Mercedes feels the sportiest, more so the faster it goes. The Cadillac has light, precise steering. One editor's notes complimented its nimble feel, saying, "It drives smaller than it is." But the Navigator, despite its new independent rear suspension and freshly installed recanned pinion steering, drives big. Of course, it is big, but we put the blame on power steering calibrations that makes the steering wheel feel sluggish, even during a 70 mph lane change. The Mercedes, as expected, took the laurels through our timed 600-foot slalom with a solid double nickel pass. The others were not far behind, most likely due to their wider tracks. The Escalade notched a close second place by running the cones at 54.0 miles per hour. The Navigator, which is almost 8 in, wider than the Mercedes, took third with a respectable 53.8 mph performance. The previous generation Navigator could manage only a 52.2 mph run, so there's been improvement here. How real is this premium trio's four-wheel drive capability? Actually, the limiting factor on narrow off-road trails is often size, because of their wide bodies and long wheelbases. None of these beasts is a real rock-climbing trail dog, though we doubt that's on the agenda of their target audience. Anyway, fortunately, all were equipped with power-folding mirrors. We did worry about tearing off the Lincoln's low-hanging, powered running boards on super nasty terrain, though it wasn't a problem. All proved quite unstoppable in Michigan's axle-deep snow and cold. Sticky mud. Lincoln's control track system uses an electronic controller that monitors front and rear driveshaft speeds in order to detect slip, and it can send up to 100% of the engine's power to the front axle if the rear wheels are spooling on ice. Unlike its competitors, the Lincoln has a real transfer case, offering two-wheel high automatic all-wheel drive, four-wheel high, and four-wheel low settings. This allows the driver, via a rotary switch on the dash, to make some decisions about how and where power is distributed. Those serious about off-roading will appreciate that a bunch. Several drivers noticed a slight lag, as the control track system sensed wheel slippage and then hooked up on snow and icy surfaces. But once in motion, the Navigator positively consumed snow-covered trails and icy inclines, like the Cadillacs. The Mercedes 4WD system is virtually transparent, even in knee-deep snow, even on its lower-profile tires. The ML plowed through snowdrifts and motored along trails with lightly packed, bumper-high white stuff. A handy off-roading feature is super-low transfer case gearing that can be activated by a dash-mounted switch. Under normal conditions, the M-Class full-time four-wheel drive system provides a 48-50 seconds torque distribution. It operates in conjunction with a four-wheel traction control system, called automatic slip regulation, that senses wheel slip and automatically applies the brakes to slow the slipping wheel. Never get near the rough stuff. Both Lincoln and Cadillac offer to WD variants of the Navigator and Escalade. Ride review. Asterisk, taking full advantage of the additional isolation provided by their separate frames, and using significantly more sophisticated shocks and carefully calibrated spring rates, these SUVs approach the rolling quiet and ride of premium sedans. Among this trio, we agreed that the trophy for overall ride quality be it on highway or on weather-busted two lanes, is earned by the Cadillac. This wouldn't be obvious from looking at suspension specifications. Asterisk, the Mercedes and Lincoln have more complex and allegedly more sophisticated, independent rear suspensions, while the Escalade's tail rolls on a simple 5-link live axle. But Cadillac engineers got the details right. The front torsion bars and the rear coils are nicely managed by electronically controlled shocks and a ride control computer that monitors sensor inputs 1,000 times per second. It all works in a very polished way. Cadillac also adds a hydraulic self-leveling system in the rear to maintain headlight aim and ride height. Like the Navigator, the M-Class has upper and lower control arms at each corner, employing torsion bars up front and coil springs in the rear. Mercedes has chosen a firm, well-damped ride character for its SUV. Ultimate plushness has been sacrificed. In the name of more wheel and body control, in some ways, its ride reminds us of an 80s sports sedan with a touch of extra body roll. Detroit's badly patched. Weather-turn expansion joints pose serious challenges for the Mercedes suspension, causing strong shudders to ripple through the bodywork. This overall tautness may also be partially attributable to the stiff short sidewalls of the 275 55R17 tires fitted. On smooth roads, however, the ML500's ride quality is outstanding. Its CARs can't match. As mentioned, all can electrically fold their power mirrors. The Lincoln Motors out its optional $925 running boards. Powers open the rear liftgate and electrically adjusts its pedals. All three have power-heated front seats. The Navigator can also cool its front buckets. Oddly, none has a power-adjust steering column, employing conventional levers instead. The styling inspiration for the Lincoln's instrument cluster and dash was clearly the classic 61 Continental. This design is clean and offers a nice Herod-inspired touch, but some of the functional items fall short. The delicate-looking speedo and tachometer are tough to read in strong light. Several drivers were concerned that the dash's painted-on satin finish won't hold up well. Finally, the articulating door that conceals the radio controls seems a needlessly busy touch. It also forces the radio face into a recess just out of convenient reach. On the plus side, have to remove the third row from the M-Class or the Escalade. Unquestionably, the Lincoln's third row is the most comfortable in cushion space and legroom. Storage for small items throughout the vehicle is not a problem. The front console bin is way deep and wide. Second row bench. The Navigator seats 7 or 8, depending on the second row choice. But its fold-down screen inhibits the rearward view when it's open. We appreciate that Lincoln is using a finer grade of carpeting and leather in the new Navigator. The M-Class is a different story. Its interior, despite this year's much welcome tweaks to the center stack controls, appears dated. Its business-like black face gauges, black leather-wrapped steering wheel. Yet, it still works well in this rugged sport utility environment, especially if you're not a big fan of the dramatic, organically flowing interior designs Mercedes is installing in the rest of its lineup. Asterisk, the controls are well positioned, and the gauges easy to read, day or night. Our drivers particularly like the sporty, perforated gray leather on the seats. The front buckets require few adjustments for decent comfort, and the second row bench is comfortable for 3 riders, if perhaps a bit flat. What about that two-passenger? Third row. Mercedes tells us only about 10% of M-Class vehicles are equipped with its optional rear bench. That's probably because it's really suitable only for small children and costs an extra $1,180. Although the Cadillac's OnStar can be used for operator-assisted navigation, only the Mercedes has a GPS-based system with a color screen and moving map to follow. It's not the easiest we've used, but the Mercedes system is relatively easy to program for local and long-distance destinations. And it proved quite useful during our meandering drives on Michigan's back roads. With the seats down, the ML offers 81.2 cu-feet of cargo volume. Do we need to point out that's more than 20 cu-feet less than the 2 domestic players? Actually, it's 0.1 cu-feet shy of the O2 Ford Explorer's volume, .. safety. All 3 players provide the frontline safety benefits of excellent 4-wheel disc braking systems, 4-wheel drive, high mass, and deep crush zones for passenger protection. Beyond that, some offer the latest in airbag technology and phone-based emergency alert setups, ultrasonic rear parking system, traction control, and stability control called stability to avoid over- or understeer instability. Standard equipment also includes the aforementioned OnStar system, which automatically calls an emergency operator. Safety belts with crash pretensioners and energy management retractors are standard on the Navigator. This protects first and second row passengers from head injury and ejection from side windows. Optional advanced track, stability control system, reduces engine power and applies the brakes to help recover vehicle control if instability is detected. The other safety tweaks include an optional tire pressure monitoring system and ultrasonic and radar-based parking assist. Mercedes equips the M-Class with dual-stage front airbags, traction control, and a stability control system called Electronic Stability Program. It senses a spin or slide and applies any or all of the 4 brakes independently to keep the vehicle heading in the steered direction. TeleAid is the Mercedes telematics package that can be used for valet services, remote diagnostics, and emergency door unlocking. If, in your case, it's about driving and heavy-duty passenger, it's trim, mid-size SUV proportions, great power-to-weight ratio, superb handling. Sedans and coupes is the rush to buy sport utility vehicles. There are those who bemoan America's enthusiasm for SUVs, but their voices are drowned out by the general enthusiasm and genuine pleasure of hundreds of thousands of satisfied SUV buyers. People just like you and me. The strongest reaction against the lozenge-like sameness of Japanese and American sedans and coupes is the rush to buy sport utility vehicles. There are those who bemoan America's enthusiasm for SUVs, but their voices are drowned out by the general enthusiasm and genuine pleasure of hundreds of thousands of satisfied SUV buyers. People just like you and me. Sport/utility vehicles aren't beautiful. They don't try to be beautiful. Sheer size tends to dominate in establishing the look that will best express what they are and what they do. They look big, they look strong, they look comfortable, they look safe. Many look like fun. As it turns out, all of these design cues are accurate. They're all these things. The mix of attributes varying from vehicle to vehicle, and plus trick wheels and fat tires. No one cares. It's a Mercedes-Benz, and as such, it's a hot item. Its minivan looks don't accurately advertise its character. It's fast and fun to drive. The Lincoln Navigator looks like a Ford Expedition. It's a fancy Ford Expedition, loaded with luxury features, but it lacks the playful spirit of the Mercedes. Traffic. It doesn't project friendliness or good humor to the occupants of vehicles sharing its road. Despite this eerie, I'm-in-control smile, the rest of the Escalade design tells you it's sophisticated, refined, competent, and expensive. The public's continued enthusiasm for SUVs and the success of the Escalade and its sibling, Cadillacs, in 100 years. And the Escalade smiles all the way to the bank. If Ford's Lincoln Navigator were the only sport utility vehicle on the planet, we're impressed by the improvement in this latest iteration. But, unfortunately, there is the Cadillac Escalade, which has simply raised the bar beyond the Navigator's reach. The Cadillac, even with a solid rear axle, offers ride handling and road holding superior to that of the Lincoln despite its new, independent rear suspension. Clearly, GM engineers have done their homework on this Escalade. It offers levels of refinement and sophistication hitherto unseen in vehicles of this type.